Man, I don't know what Jay-Z's paying his lawyer, but he's definitely getting his money's worth. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore. We've been live with It's Kim going through the Alex Spiro. It is Spiro, guys, apparently. We've been saying it wrong. Alex, I'm going to say it with respect because, man, this guy is a fantastic lawyer. Look, I don't know what happened, but after this presentation and after all the other previous interviews and after hearing Busby's responses, Kim, throughout this whole stream, which you can go watch, you can go hit join, become a member, and watch the whole breakdown, watch the whole press conference. We're going to give you a few key points. But, man, I got to say, this doesn't look good for Busby. This does not look good for Busby. It doesn't look good for victims. I'm ashamed to see that this man, Tony Busby, didn't properly vet his clients. Now, there's a lot of explaining that needs to be done, and maybe I hope he's working on it. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but he's been silent for like 6 days now, and his only statements have been, well, the previous law firm who repped her, they did the vetting. It's not how it's supposed to work, dude, especially when you're going to name big celebrities like you just did. Shame on him if this is all not true, if he didn't do his homework. He has too many clients, in my opinion, and now it's affecting the actual case. It's going to help Diddy. This is a problem, and not enough of you are concerned or talking about it. Let's focus on what Alex Spiro did, because listen, if Jay-Z didn't do this, well, then I want to amplify it for him, because shame on them for falsely accusing him of this. It doesn't mean I love Jay-Z and I'm team Jay-Z. Like, I still think Jay-Z is problematic in other areas. His illegitimate son being one, the girls he's been with over the years. I'm talking about the ages of Rihanna, Aaliyah, allegedly, Beyonce, and others. Look, there's definitely issues I have with Jay-Z. I think there's things he's going to have to be held accountable for, but it doesn't look like this was one of them. So Alex Spiro put together this massively impressive slideshow. I mean, he goes through all these details, but I wanted to go through some of the spotlight, some moments that Kim pointed out that I think are incredibly important for us all to see about how Jane Doe has not told anyone about this event for 24 years, and not even in the car ride home after 5 hours with her father.
She does not come forward with her real name. She proceeds under Jane Doe. There's no report to the police. According to her, she never tells anybody for 24 years. Not one person, not alone in the car for 5 hours at home, on her way home. Not one person, not a diary, not a family member, not a friend. Most people, when this happens, there's a need to tell somebody. We call these prompt outcry witnesses. In most complaints like this, people tell somebody. She says nobody for 24, 25 years.
That's a problem. That is typical. That's not typical.
There are some people who don't, but I would say that usually there's something, but not always. But the biggest concern I have with this is the idea that her father drove 5 hours to pick her up, saw her in distress, had her in the vehicle for another 5 hours on the way home, and no information was given.
And they exactly the fact that this father,
that's a red flag I have.
The father picks up his 13-year-old girl who was dropped off of an after party in New York. Exactly. And then apparently they don't talk to each other. Yeah. None of this makes a lick of sense. Continuing to not make sense, she alleges she snuck out of the window in broad daylight to avoid her parents.
Yourself, but how did she end up in the car in the first place? And so she creates this story. She says, I snuck out the window, right? But now we know she came from Rochester. So she would have been sneaking out of the window at 3 in the afternoon in the middle of broad daylight. Never heard of such a thing, defies common sense, doesn't make any sense because this never happened.
Now, some of the chat said they've done this, but this does seem strange to me. I don't understand why you're doing that data. But again, going back to the 10+ hour road trip, look at the math. Like, this is wild. This is wild. This doesn't make sense. And the friend who allegedly drove her now is dead. Cannot corroborate the story either. There's no one who can corroborate the story except for her father, and we're going to get there in a second. But then she claims, well, she got there to New York and she watched on the Jumbotron.
She's got to get there. But guess what? This friend of hers, she doesn't get out of the car, right? Think about that. She's just leaving a 13-year-old girl alone in Midtown. She doesn't even want to get out of the car. She came all that way. There can't be a witness there. She can't have a witness there. Defies common sense. City for the Jumbotron.
Oh, here it is.
So that didn't happen, according to the police.
So anyway,
there is no Jumbotron. In fact, they didn't even
get a permit. This is why he's a good lawyer. He pulled permits, spoke to MTV. There was no Jumbotron that year. So again, not a good look that she's out there. Yeah, I went to New York and then I'm there and then I watched the show on a Jumbotron, which she describes in vivid detail. This is a lot of details to get wrong. And I get it. Sometimes recollections may vary. Sometimes you can get this wrong, especially with all these years. I get it. It does happen. But this is starting to get too many details. There's not a single detail that's accurate. And that's very problematic in this case. Here it continues.
And then we get to the end. She kept running until she reached a gas station. A female clerk noticed her, allowed her to use the phone. Plaintiff called her father, admitted that she had lied about her whereabouts. And this is a very small thing, very small. But remember, when you leave house and you're 13, you have to have a story. You either have to sneak out and not have a lie, or you tell your parents a lie. Sort of two options, right? Earlier, she says, well, I didn't tell my parents a lie, I just snuck out the window, right? Here, she says, well, I lied. See, do you know what that means? That means she's lying within her own story. They can't both be true. And I said earlier that no witnesses have come forward in basically a quarter of a century, except for one. Now there's one, her own father, the person who knows her best. And he came forward too. And he said, you know what? This never happened. This never happened. And his attention was drawn to it. I feel like I would remember that.
Yeah, you would remember such a thing, right? Right, Kim? That's not something you forget.
I mean, it sounds like I had read somewhere that there were some personal issues going on with the father. I think maybe that needs to be explained a bit more, but it is concerning to me if you'd think, you get a call from your kid in the middle of the night and you have to drive for 10 hours and they don't tell you what they were doing or why or anything like that. I feel like that would be something I think most people would remember. But I would be interested to hear more details as to why the Jane Doe believes that her father wouldn't remember that.
Also impossible, which he's alleging, is that the timeline that has been presented by Jane Doe makes literally no sense. It's impossible to have happened. And it also goes into explain that Diddy and Jay-Z were publicly seen in different areas during that time frame.
And she says, during that little bit more than an hour, not only does she get to the house, not only is she inside mingling with celebrities, she has a drink, she's then sexually assaulted in front of an adult female multiple times. She gets out of that, she fights through it, she leaves the house naked, she gets all the way to the gas station. She had 37 minutes to possibly do this. Okay, even under their account. Okay, and of course, the biggest problem perhaps of all is there's photographs putting Mr. Combs and Mr. Carter at different places, not in a White House during that 37 minutes. So when I tell you that it's not just that this story is a lie and that it's not true, it's provably, demonstrably false. This never happened.
He reiterates that multiple times throughout how this is just something that didn't happen. And yeah, it's hard to not notice that there's things here massively wrong.
Able to, in this 40-minute window, get to multiple events. They're seen drinking, socializing. She has to change outfits, change her hair, all within 40 minutes to get to that White House in time. And you're saying to yourself, so that's not possible. You're right, it's not possible. It's because this never happened.
Again, J-Lo brought into it because the lineup of her outfit changes and things and the venues they were at publicly, which are documented via photographs, something Tony Busby could have easily vetted with his team. And you would think, Kim, this is such a high-profile case that clearly was going to get so much attention. You devote the time to ensure, does this actually line up?
Yeah.
And that's why we come around to Busby, where he attacks him as well and really gets into it here, calling him out really badly. I have the right. Let's go to 1550 first. Sorry, I have the wrong.
She's wearing one outfit and another. So she had to be able to, in this 40-minute window,
1550.
You got to ask yourself what's going on here, right? And you all saw that videotape of her being interviewed in the shadowy room. She's holding a teddy bear. She's talking about her issues, her head trauma. She's been through a lot in her life, you can tell. And so who took advantage of this? Why are we here? Why is this story getting created? And I'll tell you who took advantage of this. This lawyer took advantage of this. That's what's going on here. And you can see here, now that this is starting to unravel and the truth is coming out, he's starting to walk away from it. He's saying, Oh, sorry, this case was referred to our firm by another firm, so I didn't really check it out, is basically what he's saying. Right? He brings an accusation like this, attacks a man with the integrity of Mr. Carter.
Yeah, but how frustrating that we have to give Mr. Carter the respect now because, yeah, Busby messed up.
And all he has to say for himself now is, well, I didn't really check on this. I got a referral, trying to make a little bit of money, so we just went live with it. Next.
Yeah, you don't just go live with it, Tony.
No.
That's absolutely absurd, and now it's going to affect all your victims. And that wasn't all he said about Busby.
Who took advantage of the woman in the shadowy video? He gives a press conference, 1-800 number, and he claims 2 days after posting that press conference, 2 days, that he has 120 fully vetted plaintiffs. 120. Anybody that does this for real, anyone that knows what they're doing, knows to corroborate, to interrogate, and to be sure about even one person takes weeks. One person. You've got to find out if their story makes sense. Did they really get dropped off? Does any of it check out? Is there corroboration? Are there any witnesses? It takes weeks for one. He had 120 in 2 days. When he files these cases, he doesn't even enter his notice of appearance. He just has some other lawyer file them. He holds these press conferences. He says, listen, anybody out there, just call the 1-800 number. If you can put yourself anywhere near a Sean Combs party at any point, we can go after the other celebrities there. We can make money together. Just call the 1-800 number. That's all you need to do. And then we'll send a letter to the celebrity. They're not going to want to have this in the public light. And they're going to be shaken down and they'll send us money. So he just call the number. And Mr. Carter said no. He said, that's not going to happen anymore. I'm going to put my foot down. And that's what he did. And I would urge any other celebrity that's being shaken down right now to do the same thing and to stand with truth.
Man, this guy's good. This guy's good. Again, I can't say that any of these people are fully innocent of everything. I don't know, but all I can say is he just laid out a fantastic argument. And if I was a juror, I mean, granted, Tony has to present his side of it, but I'm waiting for his side of it because right now he looks bad. And the accuser looks bad. And it's the lawyer's job to make sure that the testimony is right and protected and checked and vetted before he even mentions a name at all. And if he didn't do that, well, then shame on him. And I got to give Jay-Z the attention just like I did because we are a channel of integrity. If Jay-Z didn't actually do this, then that's awful. That is awful. And now you just gave him a massive win, which again, I don't know if he deserves. It sounds like he's maybe done some other not greatest of things, but are they criminal? I don't know now. Now puts everything in doubt. And now Combs is all these people from Busby are all going to be put into doubt. This is a terrible update, guys. It's a terrible update. Now, it's good because the truth is being found. That's always good when the truth is found. But it's not good when you have to learn, oh, yeah, we all thought this and we all were wrong. Now, granted, I've been saying it since the beginning. He's innocent until proven guilty. So is Diddy. We have to do this with all people. So we learn from Johnny Depp. That's why we try not to jump in and just scream guilt at anybody. We got to go through the allegations. We have our opinions. And I think both Jay-Z and Diddy aren't the best of people personally. That's my opinion. But are they criminals? That's what the court of law is set to find. What do you think, Kim?
This honestly has disturbed me a bit. We talked earlier on in the show that this is not the first time that Busby's clients have essentially been caught. In the sense that their lawsuits have been filed with incorrect information and had to have been updated. There was another person who was interviewed by CNN, and during that, they found inconsistencies, and the lawsuit had to be updated. So it's like, this has now happened twice. This isn't a one-off. This is now becoming a pattern. That is really concerning. It concerns me that perhaps these victims are not being fully heard or incorrect details are being reported. It hurts their cases. I am nervous that it does make it look like Busby has less than honorable intentions of what he's doing, and it could potentially hurt other victims in this case. It's just a mess. It's a huge mess. And ultimately, we want the truth. We want people who have done bad things to answer for them. We want the victims to be heard. But this is a disaster. This is so bad. And
It's real bad.
Yeah.
It makes me nervous
Yeah.
about everything. It makes me question everything. And but it does once again prove Alex Spiro is one of the best lawyers I've seen out there. Between this and the Baldwin trick, he literally just
Other
came out
than
and
him
was like,
saying, other than
Jedi
him
mind
saying
trick,
that
they're
it-
both innocent. Alec Baldwin literally shot somebody and they died. And he got off. Not only did he get off, Alex got the prosecutor on the stand and made her guilty. I mean, you can't pay for that as a client. That's like the holy grail of like what Alec Baldwin, I'm sure, wanted was the prosecutor grilled and then pretty much getting arrested would be the only best thing he could have done. That's
That
how
being
good this
said,
guy
though,
is.
That being said, though, the prosecutor did mess up in that case. Let's be fair. But secondly, there are some things that Spiro did, like saying that Diddy
Spyro
and
caught it though, Kim, and was
he did. Oh, he did.
We
He
was
did.
on it so well. He knew it all, and I think he's doing it again here because
Yeah.
where did NBC get this Jane Doe from? I think there were some things he's done here behind the scenes that he's not going to admit, but he's done that have helped him out, I think.
Yeah. And I do want to say one of the things he did claim in this press conference was that Diddy and Jay-Z were not friends.
Correct.
I don't
That's
think
a
many
lie.
of us are believing that. Let's be real. Let's be real. And the other thing that I sit with is we keep hearing over and over again is witnesses and victims saying that this was an open secret and everybody knew what was going on. This was the culture. Yet it took for Jay-Z being accused for him to say anything, and until Spiro to talk for him to distance himself from Diddy. That's a little sus to me, but that's just me.
Yeah, look, Spiro's job is to lie for his clients. That's what lawyers do. A lot of times they're allowed. And I'm not saying everything here is accurate. I'm not saying Jay-Z's a perfect person. Don't get me twisted.
No.
I'm saying he's innocent until proven guilty. And of this particular accusation, I got to give Jay-Z's team the win because if I was a jury on this case, I would let him go. There's no way I would there's way too much doubt here and no evidence to prove that he had anything to do with this. And that's what matters at the end of the day. And I worry now, Busby was so sloppy that it's going to affect all these cases, and shame on him if it does. We're waiting for his full response. He's responded here and there a little bit, but this is bad news. This is going to shake the credibility of all of his people. I wonder if he cares. I don't even know anymore what's going on. We will keep you privy to it all, though, but make sure you support It's Kim. Go hit that subscribe. Hit the subscribe here as well if you haven't already, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Hit that bell for alerts so you get notified. And when you do, smash the thumbs up. Are you watching live? Hit that thumbs up right now. Leave your comments down below and stay tuned. We got a lot more coming for you here on Popcorn Planet.